Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder, sitting here with the comedians known as Talent and Fig. And these guys have been in the comedy business for a very long time. They've been in comedy specials, comedy TV shows, comedy tours, comedy films. They've had their own specials. They've been everything related to comedy. That's what these guys have been in. And we call it a comedy sports show. And in case you all are not familiar, we've been doing this for a couple of months now. And this is the show where we talk about sports with some comedy. So what I always do every day is I kick it off because of COVID is really, seriously in this, basically in this community and going on in the country right now. We start off with the COVID report. The COVID report today, real quickly, is the Detroit Lions coaches are staying away from the team facility because they deemed it close contact because of COVID-19 and contact tracing. And Rajon Rondo attended a funeral over the weekend, and because of that, he has to stay away from his team, which looked like it's the Atlanta Hawks. So that's the COVID report. But let me jump in and talk about the NBA season that kicked off last night, because we were talking about it for a second off the air, and I swear some brothers just think that we hating and all that, but I ain't gonna say no names. Talent.
Me.
Talent. Oh, I'm sorry.
This just comedy.
I had something in my throat. Now, let me just kick this off by saying that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant put on one of the best opening nights, shows I've seen in a very long time. Talent, those boys went up by 38. They could have probably blew them out by 50, but those dudes literally sat down on the bench. They were playing Golden State Warriors last night. Golden State did not have all there together. And maybe it could be because they haven't played together in 6 months. Maybe not. I mean, we'll see. But I wanted to know, what was your first thoughts after you saw the game last night? We'll get into the game, the semantics of the game in a second. But what's your first thoughts when you saw, New Jersey Nets play last night?
My first thought was to reach out and call you two married men and disrupt your whole damn evenings on some stop hating, or it ain't no maybe these dudes didn't eat the right meal, maybe he been away from it. No, they came out and put a grand opening ass whooping on the opposing team. And Kyrie Irving, the guy who y'all can't wait to, he's a cancer, he's bad this, da-da-da-da. That dude right there is the best player on opening night by far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my first reaction was like, I couldn't find my phone quick enough. I said, I hope I catch them in a moment. T, I can't talk. My wife, yeah, that's why I called, because I wanted to catch you at an I can't talk moment to ruin your damn night. That's how I felt, by the way.
Okay. All right, Fig, what was your overall thought? We'll get into the depth of it in a second, but what was your overall thought?
Well, I just want to say that Talent was just mad because he ain't had nobody over at his house last night. That's all.
Ooh.
He could have had 3 nobodies. He probably had 3 nobodies over his house last night. That's like,
we're going to keep that quiet. We don't want to talk about that. But no, man, listen. The game was absolutely amazing, and usually I say this when I'm talking about football, but since it's basketball season, they are who we thought they were. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, all year when we was talking about basketball, I've been saying that barring injury, if Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are healthy with the pieces that they already have on the Brooklyn Nets, they will probably come out of the East and be a big problem for whoever comes out of the West. As a matter of fact, I will go out on the limb and say that if the Brooklyn Nets are healthy, they will probably win the NBA championship this year.
We don't want to get too far in depth of it just yet. Just want to know your overall thoughts. Now let's get into the depth of the game right now, Talent. I'm going to ask you, the way the New Jersey Nets was moving the ball, the way that they substituted, the way that the game was called by their coach, I literally can sit here and say, even though it's game 1, it seemed like to me that the New Jersey Nets was playing a men amongst boys. It seemed like the New Jersey Nets was basically had their game plan together on how they were going to attack. Once they added the 2 additions of Kyrie and KD, it seemed like it was a seamless transition for those 2 superstars into what they already had working. Now, I could be overreacting because it's only game one, but I will say this, and I want you to give me your in-depth analysis of this. I will say this. It was scary right now for the rest of the NBA looking at how those boys moved the ball and how they basically were able to attack the basket because they moved the ball. Kyrie has been known to ball hog, and then dribble for a lot and everything else. That didn't happen last night. That ball moved.
Well, not only that, you got to look at two things. One is they moved the ball the way they did against the number one ball moving team.
Yeah.
Golden State has made and built a reputation on moving the ball and executing ball movement at the highest of its level. That's one thing. The second thing is, I feel like the same way you felt about Dak Prescott is like for anybody who's ever questioned what Draymond brings to that team has got a wake-up call yesterday because Draymond didn't play.
Right.
And that's a whole different Golden State team without the energies and the little intangibles of basketball that a Draymond Green brings to the team. So they look like JV without Draymond. I didn't even miss Clay. I missed Draymond last night.
Right.
Because that's what you needed. It wasn't even like a shoot fest that people was ice cold from behind the three. So it wasn't that. If it was that, you'd have been like, damn, we missed Clay. I missed Draymond last night.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I guess I was just trying to figure out when I was watching it last night who they missed more myself. Was it Clay or was it Draymond? And I understand your point too. But let me ask you, Fig, the way they moved the ball last night, did that not put the rest of the NBA on notice? The way because Kyrie was an actual true, in its most purest sense, he was the true point guard last night. He was in his most purest sense. He brought the ball up the court. He dished it. When it came time to attack the basket, he did. But tell me that ball didn't move out his hand. That ball didn't move around. It was moving.
It absolutely did. But before I get into my synopsis, the word for the day is intangibles.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. No, but listen, the Nets were next level, man. You know what I mean? They did next level. Now, granted, they played a depleted Warriors team. With the only real star on the team was Steph Curry, and their team is loaded. I would go as far as to say is that you had Kevin Durant, you had Kyrie, and then you had Steph Curry, and then everybody else on the Nets team was probably better than everybody else on the Golden State Warriors team. Because you got LeVert and all those boys on that team, they balled out last year. You know what I mean? They made the playoffs, and this was out Kyrie and KD. So these guys were playoff contenders before you even added the two superstars. And by all means, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, at their best, when healthy, are superstars. And it just looked like the Warriors were just like completely outmatched. I will say this, and then I'm gonna let it go. I love the young boy, the young rookie on the Golden State Warriors, Weissman. The kid is 19 years old, and you can already see his potential and his ability. That kid's gonna be a beast.
Okay, so you kind of jumped my next question. Talent, I'm gonna ask you this. If you're Golden State Warriors and you walk away from that game, positive can you take away from that game? Now, I'll start out by saying I took away the positive from that James Wiseman literally is a future superstar in this league. That boy in the center position, he had a lot of moves. He showed a lot of promise and everything else. And if that boy adds more muscle in his game and everything else, that boy could literally be really, really scary. That's my thought. If they're them, they walk because they could sit there and say, you know what, we could have got beat by 50. But on the positive side, is James Wiseman and a couple other players, they really shine. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree totally with that. I mean, you always want to see that. You throw a draft pick into a starting position and from boys to men and see how they handle that. Like, even though your team was getting their ass whooped, you didn't see that. Every time you seen Weissman, he was adding to, whatever the problem was, and he was doing what needed to be done. Like I said, they just didn't have the pieces in order. That was one game where it's 4 teams were on TV last night, and 3 out of the 4 teams got to play between 9 and 12 players, which is astronomical for the NBA. When last time we seen that? So that was Golden State's only problem. They didn't have enough money in the bank. You know how you go to the ATM, you go to withdraw some money, and it's insufficient fund. They had insufficient funds of players last night, so they couldn't go 8, 7, 9 deep. When all three other teams last night was able to go deep into like 10 or plus players, and I think that's where you got beat at. Because even when you sat those guys down, the B team came out. The only guy they had with the B team was DeAndre Jordan, and the B team was balling.
Yep. They absolutely was. Fig, if you're Golden State Warriors, you have to be saying, you know what, Draymond didn't play last night, but if Draymond is in the starting lineup and James Wiseman is in the starting lineup, they look promising. That is a promising type of thought process if you're them. That's the way I think of it. Besides sitting there saying, we could have lost by 50, taking some positive away from it, because, you have to wipe that game away. It was only game 1. You know what I mean? You can't overemphasize how bad the loss is. That's what I'm thinking about. If I'm them, what's your thoughts?
I think if you Golden State, you realize that that you don't have enough to compete with a team like the Nets. But your takeaway is we didn't blow our second round pick on Weissman. We did not have Klay Thompson. We did not have Draymond Green. And with the addition of those two players, plus what you had, I believe it's a more competitive game. Even if you had Draymond without Klay, I think they still lose to KD, Kyrie, the Nets, and that those players over there. But you gotta feel good moving forward if you're the Golden State Warriors organization, because you got some nice pieces. They're not mature pieces. They're not ready yet. But going forward, you could see once Klay and Steph are no longer playing, that you got something to still build upon. Because that kid Weissman, like I said, to me, he looks like a David Robinson with a 3-point shot. Yeah, and that's scary, because this kid looks like he could be a different version of David Robinson, or he looks like he would be very competitive with Anthony Davis.
In other NBA news, the Lakers played last night. The Lakers played against the Clippers. And let me just start this conversation by saying, as a Celtics fan, I was sitting there kind of really bent over them hosting getting their rings. But overall, when they got their rings last night, that ring presentation was absolutely beautiful. I got to say that for the record. It was absolutely beautiful. And then the way that they had the montage to the players and everything else. And I just want to say really quickly that out of all the players and everything else, what the I Promise School did for LeBron last night was a very touching moment. That was something that I was like, you know what? The NBA needs to get full credit for that. And I don't even think LeBron was hip to that when they did that. You know what I mean? He looked completely surprised. But the game, man, the Lakers literally seemed like they were exhausted. Their legs looked horrible. The Clippers were running them out the gym. And then the Clippers left off the pedal. So if you're the Clippers this morning, are you concerned about the Clippers? If you're the Clippers management, because they literally went up by 20. Then the game got the Lakers, brought it down by 2. And then, of course, then they spread it out and they still won. But if you're the Lakers, you say you got to walk away saying, you know what, we could have beat these dudes. And if you're the Clippers, you got to be concerned. What's your thought, Talent?
No, you don't. Not if you the Clippers and Lou are the Scorseses right now. Okay. They gave you a good dramatic movie. They gave you a movie that seemed predictable. Then they wooed you like, oh my God, this is going the other way. And then they just came back and closed that bad boy out like, beat it. There was no competition last night. That was just last minute heroics again, this is the season opener. Somebody got a phone call. This game is too much of a blowout. Let's bring it in a little bit. Let's keep the audience, because we only got 2 games tonight, guys. TNT, let's go. And that's all it was. Scorsese at his finest, man. A good movie run. You think that they're going to kill the main actor, then he comes back, he shoots up the club. They did exactly what I expected them to do. Let me tell you something. Who should be concerned is the people who know they're going to have to face them again down the line when it counts. And that's the Lakers. You went deep, we went deep. You had no answer. The only answer for Kawhi was for the shot to be off.
Okay, let me say this to you, Fig. When the Lakers was playing against the Clippers last night and the Clippers was instituting the triangle offense, the Clippers went up by 20. When they let off the pedal and stopped doing the triangle offense, the Lakers closed the gap. So you think the Clippers last night realized with the new coach that, you know what, we know how we can run through the West right now? What you think? Because Paul George, using that triangle offense, Paul George was phenomenal. That was the Paul George we should have seen last year in the playoffs. But go ahead.
Well, I'm before I talk about that, let me get to the ring ceremony. The ring ceremony was absolutely beautiful, and when they were showing the montage of the families, I was saying, wow, you know, some of these people look like they belong in the Lee family. The ugly. It was a lot of ugly. There was a lot of ugly people in that montage. I was like, man, with all those millions of dollars, y'all can't spring for no plastic surgery is ridiculous. No, I'm sorry.
I like look at Frank's straight face.
Anyway, look, the Clippers look like they were next level. And here's the thing. They were in a bubble last year. Paul George clearly had some mental issues while he was in a bubble. Plus, this kid was coming off double shoulder surgery. So, I mean, I know we killed him. I know other people killed him in the media and stuff like that. But, you know, clearly, I mean, even people say that Paul George never shows up in the big moment. Clearly, last year, he was not even his normal self. That was bad for even his worst last year. So we seen another version of Paul George last night. And if they run that version of the triangle, they look like they could possibly be unstoppable if everybody is on, because they played lights out last night, man. They really did. And this was the team I think that everybody was talking about seeing last year.
Yeah, but I will say this. If Tyronn Lue was trying to tell Doc Rivers to play like that last year and they didn't, then Doc Rivers should have been fired, because what Tyronn Lue instituted last night, everything else, if you're in the West, you got to be concerned. And I know it's only game one and it's still early and everything else, but if you're in the West, you got to face the Clippers. The way they were using that triangle and they was plugging in Paul George and then offsetting it with Kawhi, I mean, it was like, whoa, like that was a scary thought. But speaking of things, let me talk about something last night that happened. James Harden, he reportedly had a confrontation with several Houston Rockets players. Inside the NBA was talking about this situation, about being able to talking about players and getting special treatment and preferential treatment and players not doing this and doing, you know what I mean? They were going on. I don't know if you all saw Inside the NBA last night, but Charles Barkley and Shaq, they had a great conversation about preferential treatment. And I will say this, It's very possible that players get preferential treatment. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this morning, news broke out, talent, that James Harden was supposedly at a strip club over the weekend. And of course, the video came out about that. James Harden, just now since we've been on, came out and said in an Instagram post that it was not a strip club. He was, supporting one of his friends and everything else. Now, I will ask you this, talent. Does preferential treatment literally, can it destroy a team that when you're on the brink of something like what the Houston Rockets is going through right now?
Well, I think you'd be not realistic to think you live in a world where there won't be. There has to be. That comes from coddling a player up to get to the league. Once you put these people on the pedestal, you want the most production out of this athlete or student that you can get. So you're going to have to give something to get something. It's always been that way. I know this is America. This is a capitalistic environment. I don't think it's going to change. Now, if he wants to go out and support one of his friends, Mercedes, and he say he's not at a strip club. He wasn't at a strip club. He was at a strip event. His friend name is Mercedes. Her stage name is Mercedes. So I can't. Loyalty is loyalty. I can't be mad at you for that. But you have to respect the protocol of NBA too. If they say we got a certain protocol and you can't be around this, can't play that, you got to respect that. Now, special treatment. Let's say that special treatment I give you, except when it comes to other people's health. It's okay to treat you special and give you things. It's not okay to risk other people. That's different. We're talking health. You know what I mean? And if the worry thing is about you're going to other environments with other people that we can't keep a track of, and then you're coming in this gym amongst these other players who supposedly are following protocol. That's where I would have to draw the line. But, you know, if I give you special treatment because you're the franchise player, so you get a special side of the hall to be by yourself. Like we all watched, you know, the Jordan special, and when Jordan had he would snatch a certain amount of tickets that these other players on the team couldn't get. They had to go to Jordan to get tickets for their family if they need an extra 2-3 tickets. And this is just another player.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you in the room, you gotta feel demeaned. You gotta be like this miniature, like, hey, Mike, can I get 2 of those? Like, you're not supposed to talk to your teammate like that, but they were going in the room like that. So that's special treatment. It's always been there.
Mm-hmm. Now, Fig, the thing is inside the NBA brought up several good points. Shaq and Charles were talking about if you're a special player, you can come in late every now and then, and if you come in late every now and then, it could be accepted and everything else. But James Harden has been being reported that he's stretching the lines way past that. You know what I mean? Just like what Talon said, he's putting his other teammates at risk because of COVID. He's calling special events and everything else like that. So I guess the thing is where do you draw the line? You know what I mean? Like, where's the line drawn with the dude
right
like
there? Right there.
His
name is James Harden, not Jesus.
Here's the thing. I want to go out on the limb and just make this statement for the Box Seats organization and just say, I believe that we have enough evidence to conclude that athletes love strippers. Mm-hmm. Just go there. Just, you know, I just think that's we got enough evidence.
Comedians too.
But here's the thing. Look, everybody, listen, in any organization, whether it be entertainment, the corporate world, wherever you go, the people who produce the most and make the most amount of money, they all get preferential treatment. It goes with comedians, it goes with actors, it goes with athletes. Everybody get preferential treatment. But I got to go back to what Talent said. When your preferential treatment includes putting other people's health and lives in jeopardy, then it's all bets off. And I'll go as far as say this, what was said last night, because I did watch you know, Charles and Shaq and Kenny and Ernie. I'll go back and say this, that you can go too far with it. If you're holding up the plane or you're holding up the bus, you're late for meetings and stuff like that. I don't care what you do on the court. Your time is still not more important than mine. I have a family. I have stuff that I would like to do. You understand what I'm saying? If I could be there on time, if the coaches could be there on time, then you know you need to treat this like a business. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the NBA is a business and it's a corporation, each individual corporation within themselves. You need to treat it as such. You need to be professional. Maybe that's the reason why you're not winning, because you're treating this like it's something else other than what it actually is. It's a business. You're just tossing it away like it's something else.
You could go on and on about that too, because I agree with you. But if something that Charles Barkley said for a hot second, and I wish he had talked about it more, he said Doug Williams literally got everybody on the bus and he left Dr. J and Moses Malone because they missed the bus. Now, I was like, wow, if more coaches acted like that, more superstars would be locked in line, because that coach right there said, I don't care how big of a star you are, when it's time to go at 5 o'clock, where you leaving? You know what I mean?
But you know what, Frank? You know what that goes back to? I think it goes back to the fact that some of these superstars have a little bit like that. Like, I don't mind the sharing of the power. You know, I'm all for equality and sharing the power, but when your power supersedes the organization, then it's too much.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean. And if you don't have the responsibility, if you don't have that within yourself to say, look, I have to treat this in a certain way. Everybody is not good with power. Everybody can't handle it. And clearly, from the rumors, James Harden, he can't handle the power because he abuses it.
Well, I guess it depends on how you want to say that, because I think he's overhandling, to be honest with you. I think he could be considered overhandling. But speaking of strippers, let's talk about the NFL, because Dwayne Haskins, he issued an apology. Believe it or not, he issued an apology for saying, I went to the strip club. I want to officially apologize and everything else. Now, my thing is this. If you're a professional player, whether you're in the NFL, the NBA, you know exactly when you get in the car and you're headed to the strip club, you automatically know you're not supposed to be doing that. You know you're not supposed to do that. You know you're especially if you're the quarterback of a franchise. You know you're not supposed to be doing it, and yet and still you still do it, whether you have a mask or not. This goes back to the James Harden situation when you're putting your teammates and other people at risk. So, talent. The thing is, when Dwayne Haskins issued his apology, how much did you think? Did you even say, you know what, this apology I really taken to heart because I really think he felt it, or you was like, man, stop the nonsense? What was your thought?
I really don't take any apologies to heart. I think that we live in a time, to be honest with you, that this is the new protocol and we play the game accordingly. Like we do what we're gonna do. 90% of the time, hope we don't get caught. But if we do, we know, like Bill Burr used to say in an old joke, we have to pull out that podium instead of I want to apologize to my wife, my family, blah, blah. You know, it's protocol now. I think everybody knows what they're doing when they do it. I think it's just the point of, is the apology sincere? No, it's protocol. It's I have to do this to get back in grace of this. So do I mean it? Not necessarily. How many people get caught, cheating in a relationship? She meant nothing. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She meant something. You've seen her. Your wife pull up the phone records, so you've been calling her since 1988, but she meant nothing. 743,000 phone calls, but she didn't mean nothing. It didn't mean nothing. Same thing with these players. They go into a city, like you said. You made a good point, Frank. You said he knew when he was on the way. When he got in that car, mask or no mask, he knew, man, it's a pair of areolas in this strip club that I must see. So he's driving, and then he said, and his boy probably in the back with the weed, because now you can do that. He's probably like, yo, bro, what if they catch it? And he was like, I'm just going to apologize.
Or he went to the strip club saying, nah, man, we ain't got to worry about that because ain't no cell phone supposed to be allowed in the strip club. We go here. We good. We good. We good. You know what I mean?
Never believe that. Frank, how many times was no guns allowed and somebody got shot?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, there's always going to be a strip of cell phone in the strip club. There's always going to be a gun in the strip club. There's always going to be that stuff in the strip because it's a strip club. That's that bring that type of environment. Fig, when Dwayne Haskins issued his apology, did it seem like to you he had already pre-typed it? He already had it written.
Listen, somebody wrote that for him. That boy can't even talk, let alone write. Let me tell you like this. We said, there's always going to be a cell phone. There's always going to be a gun. Hell, Plaxico Barris shot himself in a strip club. You understand what I'm saying? Years ago, shot himself in the leg and still had to go to jail.
Yeah.
Dwayne Haskins knew when he got dressed and he put on those gray sweatpants with no underwear and got in the car and drove to the strip club, he knew that there was going to be.
He was getting dressed up, but I can't wait to see Mercedes tonight. That's what he was talking.
He put on them sweatpants and went straight to the strip club. He said, "I need these sweatpants, and I got gas in the car, and let's go." Listen, that was it. The thing is that it goes back to what I said. Athletes seem to have this thing for strip clubs and strippers, and the thing with me is, I used to too, but I don't go anymore. And if it was in a COVID season, I don't think I want to go to a strip club where the strippers are wearing masks anyway. Like you can't see their faces. Masks cover up a whole lot of ugly, and all you can see is their eyes. I don't want to know if I need to know what this stripper look like under the mask. So are you going to a strip club where they wearing masks?
Listen,
it can be anybody under there.
Yeah, let's continue.
It could be a guy, for God's sake.
Let's continue on the conversation because some news dropped this morning also about Ben Roethlisberger that I did not know. Ben Roethlisberger playing for he's playing obviously for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Did you guys know? And I'm not sure if you maybe you might have known. Ben Roethlisberger is literally about to hit a $40 million cap hit on the Steelers next season. So if he plays, if he's on the roster 3 days after the season ends this year, he's guaranteed $41 million. So I'm going to put it out there and say, as the way he's playing right now, if the Pittsburgh Steelers continue on with this pace and they continue to lose, he's going to get cut because they're not going to be able to pay him $41.5 million on the cap hit. So the question to you, Talon, is what do you think Pittsburgh is going to do moving forward with Ben Roethlisberger up into next year? You think they keep him or you think they cut him?
This is Pittsburgh, man. They never gonna cut Ben. They never gonna cut Ben.
$41 million. That's a huge cap hit.
This is Pittsburgh.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
All
Pittsburgh.
Right. Okay. So you're gonna stick with the all right.
You understand that this is Trump country. This is Pittsburgh.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I didn't even think I wasn't. I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking.
They will not cut Ben.
Okay. Well, I don't know what I was thinking. Fig, what you think?
And the funny thing about it is that nobody said any of this when they were 11-0.
Right.
Nobody was talking about what Ben was getting paid. I mean, they won every game that they played through 11 games. And now all of a sudden they lose a couple of games. Now everybody talking about, we got to worry about what we paying Ben. You didn't worry about that when he was winning. It's such people are so in the moment, man. I'm like, yo, you still got one of the best records in the NFL. You're 11-3. You guys are in the playoffs. Maybe you can get this thing back together. Maybe you can't. But nobody was talking about Ben Roethlisberger and his salary. You know what I mean?
I'll raise you one. No one was talking about Juju Smith-Schuster dancing on people's logos either. But when they lost 3 games, Mike Tomlin has pulled Juju Smith-Schuster aside and threatened to sue to fine him if he dances on the logo anymore and everything else, because, according to Mike Tomlin, they don't want to incite the other team. Now, as we saw the last game, Juju Smith-Schuster was dancing on the logo and everything else, and they ran into a buzzsaw from a 2-10 team, and they lost that game. Talon, what's your thoughts when you hear Mike Tomlin moves forward and pulls Juju's side? Listen, man, stop doing all that TikTok stuff. Stop dancing on the logo. We don't need all that. We don't need no distraction.
Well, he's smart. He's doing the right thing. The key word you just said is distraction. Mm-hmm. And the last thing, when you start trending down and you lose 3 in a row, the last thing your team needs is more distraction. You know what I mean? There's going to be enough distractions come with losing alone.
Right.
The last thing we need is you out there doing the teach them how to Dougie on the damn logo. You know what I'm saying? That's the last thing we need is to make news for the wrong. We're already making news in the wrong way. We don't need any more distractions. I agree with him. That's some good coaching right there.
Yeah, I agree with him too. Fig, I want to ask that question to get one more question before we bring in Rodney. What's your thoughts?
Man, I agree with him too, but here's the thing. It goes back to what I said about Ben Roethlisberger. Was it really a problem? Like, what was Juju Smith-Schuster dancing on the other team's logo the reason why they won the first 11 games? Because he's been doing this all season. So how did it become a problem now when it was a problem before? Maybe that was the reason that they were winning. Nobody said anything about it. It's just like when you start losing, people start pointing fingers and trying to figure out what the reason is. The reason is you ran into a team who was more motivated to play than you were, and dancing on the logo wasn't the problem. Or is it 4 games? All right.
No, I'm saying no. It was 3 teams. You said you ran into a team. I'm saying they ran into 3 teams.
You ran into 3 teams who were look. We kept saying they were winning close games to begin with.
Right.
So it wasn't like they were blowing teams out. So you were just getting by. And Mike Tomlin, here's the funny thing about it. Before they started losing, they won that 11th game. And Mike Tomlin broke his foot off in his team behind because he said, even though we won, we played like garbage. Maybe that's the reason that they started losing. Maybe it had nothing to do with Ben Roethlisberger getting $40 million or Juju Smith-Schuster dancing on the logo. Maybe it was because Mike Tomlin said, y'all playing like garbage.
Bingo. Let me ask this last question before we bring in Rodney Perry. Denver with QB Drew Luck, or do they go after Ben Roethlisberger, Dak Prescott, maybe Jameson Winston because he's going to be a free agent, maybe Cam Newton, Carson Wentz? What do you think Denver's going to do, being that, John Elway is the man up there, and he's literally sitting there saying, okay, we got to make something happen now because we haven't been in the playoff talks, anything, and we're struggling. What do you think Denver does?
I think you need a bad quarterback. So I think Wentz fits best with Denver because he's a bad quarterback that needs redemption. The team's looking for redemption. I think when you put those things together, you make magic. Is a perfect example. The last time Denver did that was Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was on the Colts in purgatory. As good as he was in this purgatory. Denver was trying to come up with good receivers, but stuck in the purgatory. So you put this union together of these two purgatory peoples, and they was a match made in heaven. I think Denver's back in that position to grab like a Wentz. And that guy who you was hailing yesterday, Frank, the old Wentz, he'll come back, I think.
Yeah, I think he will. But what you think, Fig? You think Denver's going to keep Drew Luck, or are they going to go after Ben Roethlisberger, Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston because he's a free agent, Cam Newton, or Carson Wentz? What do you think they're going to do?
To tell you the truth, I think Wentz. I mean, who did you say?
Which one? Ben Roethlisberger, Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston, Cam Newton, Carson Wentz.
Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you why I said Jameis Winston. Because I think Elway can get that kid, get his quarterback under control. This kid, he was throwing for over 5,000 yards. The problem was he was throwing a lot of interceptions. And I think with the tutelage of a John Elway could fine-tune what Jameis Winston already has, because the kid has raw talent. If you could fine-tune that talent, I think that he would be an excellent quarterback. And I think John Elway might be the dude because he was such a superior talent himself. I think that he has what it takes to be able to take a quarterback and turn him into something special. And I think the tools are already there for James.
Okay. All right, let's get ready to bring in Mr. Rodney Perry. Rodney Perry does what we call the segment called I Disagree. Rodney Perry, how you doing today, brother? And are you ready for this segment?
I'm absolutely ready, brother. Watching the show, and I had to go get my hat together, my glasses, because you guys are some jive turkeys. I had to get my jive turkey clothes on to deal with some jive turkeys.
Okay.
So here we go. How about this? One game into the NBA season, and we are already overreacting. Ooh, KD and them might go for they're gonna beat everybody. They're gonna go undefeated the whole season. Really? One game in? Are you serious? Yes, KD looks great. Yes, Kyrie looks great. But how about this, Fig? Barring injury. Well, can we even bar injury with these guys? You can't bar injury with Kyrie. His Achilles waiting to take the rest of the season off. You can't bar injury. Now with these guys, they proven gimpy. Okay. I said, well, Golden State was great, but they was missing Clay and Draymond. You missing two of the best players in the world. Yes, the team you playing gonna look good. And how about this? KD is a double agent. KD is a double agent. So you think it's an accident that all of a sudden the Nets is passing the ball? That Kyrie playing like a point guard? No, it ain't no accident. Open my screen up so I can see everybody, Frank. Two teams, guys. LA and Miami. Everybody else wasn't playing. Okay? LA and Miami, everybody else was sitting, watching, sleeping, and now they all look energized. Because the Nets ain't played since when? June? They supposed to look fresh. If you the Nets, you supposed to look fresh. I wish the Nets would have came in sluggish. Now put about 40 games on that Achilles and see what KD look like. I ain't wishing nothing on him. Now let's move it on to the Clippers. Now, I got to be honest. Finally, the Clippers are on. Are finally working. Uh-oh. God dang it. The Clippers are off. Who knows? We don't know if the Clippers going to be able to keep. Oh, shit. See if I can help fix the clipper. Yes, the Clippers look great. The Clippers look great. But they shot like 80% from the field. Can they do that all season? Can they do that for another 70-some games? I say no. I say can't get right and can't get right too. It will eventually show their head. Okay? All right. Shouts out to the Lakers ring ceremony. I got 3 words for y'all. We are family. It was beautiful. I wept. I shed a tear. I shed a tear. And I never cry.
I never cry.
Houston Rockets. James Harden is a maniac, okay? He doing whatever he got to do to get out of there. But guess what, James? They not letting your ass go. James, you ain't going nowhere. Stop playing. Somebody get this tape to James. Dwayne Haskins apologizing for going to the strip club. How dare you, sir? You go there and watch them ladies jiggle and gyrate, get some stress off you. And how about this? He ain't playing, and he ain't gonna play no more. Haskins done. He done. He should be able to go get some rest relax. He ain't play. He done. He done. Let the man go to the strip club. So what? Y'all ask the question: is Roethlisberger gonna get cut? Well, that sounds like one of Frank's little theories he be coming up with. I think Roethlisberger. Let me tell you something about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Talon tried to allude to it. They don't fire people. They just don't. The family over there, Mike Tomlin been had a job for 1,000 years. Mm-hmm. Before that, it was my man. What's my man's name? Bill Cowher. He had a job forever. They don't let people go. And the guy's 11-3. Mm-hmm. I don't see it happening. And finally, Denver, who they gonna get? Somebody said Denver was gonna get Carson. Carson the loser Wentz. Who want Carson the loser Wentz? Who would go out of their way to get a guy that has failed time and time again? And we gonna dust him out. Only way that's if we see Carson Wentz get a job in Denver, notice racism is still alive. I'm gonna say it. Racism is still alive in America. If Carson Wentz losing ass, get a job in Denver, and you got Winston, you got Dak Prescott, and you got your boy out there in New England. If you got all these black quarterbacks available, and you gonna get Carson Wentz's losing ass, you're a racist. How dare you? Who should it be? Either Winston or Dak Prescott. It should be Winston or Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott gonna be looking to go somewhere with a quarterback-centered philosophy, and it could be Denver. Winston, y'all know I'm a fan of Winston. The guy got LASIK surgery. I believe the guy can throw now. I believe he gonna clean up his picks. This guy needs a shot, and I don't see him getting a shot though. It's really tough for him because contrary to probably Winston is an N-word. He's a real N-word, and real N-words tend to get put in the back seat in the NFL. All right. Again, it looked like we got the Clippers back up and running.
Okay.
But who knows what's gonna happen?
Everybody, that's my man Rodney Perry with his segment called I Disagree. We're gonna keep this show rolling on and keep this thing moving on. And before we jump into the NFL picks, I want to just say this and go around the thought process. think Josh Gordon just literally got another ticket for basically being a substance abuse. He got approved to be on Seattle Seahawks again, but Seattle has made an official statement saying that he didn't finish all the protocol stuff he was supposed to be. That is his 6th time. Word is that he's going to probably be officially done. Talent, what's your thoughts when you hear about Josh Gordon, who was an amazing wide receiver, could have been one of the best to go down in NFL history with the talent he had, having fighting and dealing with substance abuse. What's your thoughts when you hear about that talent?
What is the problem? I'm saddened by that. Like, what is the problem? What do we know what substance?
No one knows. If not, word has been it was weed, but it's got to be more than weed. It's got to be more than weed.
That's a damn shame, man. All I think about when I watch any type of player at a professional level blow their career, I think of all those hundreds and hundreds of players each year that spent their whole life trying to get to the level of play and then don't get there or get cut or almost make it. Either way, their heart is broken. And these are guys that's working hard. These are guys that's not abusing substances and stuff like that. So when you see the guys that make it and actually are pretty good and they're making their way and they ruin their career like this, that's all you can think about is the people that, wanted a shot, man.
It makes it worse because they have that raw talent to be in the league and to get 6 shots. What you think, Fig?
Yeah, man, the thing is that did you say he got a ticket? Like the cops had pulled him over or something like that? Right?
Yeah, well, I use the word ticket as an analogy, but he got flagged.
Okay.
He got flagged.
The thing is, man, like talent is sad, but when I think about a player like that who has that kind of ability, that kind of talent, and he's gotten caught multiple times.
6 times.
Yeah, here's the thing. To me, what it leans to is that this is a sickness, it's an illness. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Some guys have an abuse problem and they can't fix it by themselves. They actually need help, and it's sad because, like Talon said, there are so many millions of other guys that try and make it to the league, period. But this guy not only made it to the league, he made it to the league and he's playing at an elite level, and he's still messing it up. I don't even know if he can help himself. When it gets to that point, it's like this guy really can't help himself. It's a sickness and an illness, and it needs to be treated as such.
Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts?
I mean, it's easy to be cavalier about this subject. The guy's been dealing with these drug problems since he was a kid. If you look at the stories about it, it said he tried Xanax, marijuana, codeine. He's been self-medicating to deal with adolescent trauma-based fear. So, I mean, I don't know if this should be dealt with as a I don't know if it should be dealt with as a situation. He treat him like you would treat somebody that was ill, you know, instead of treating him like a criminal. And so he's obviously can't do this alone. But the NFL is supposed to have a great substance abuse program. I don't know the specifics of how he's buying into the program, but apparently, I mean, we saw this with Ricky Williams and marijuana. It was issues with him leaving marijuana alone. And you're talking about guys that are in constant pain. And so he's probably got the mental part of it coupled with the physical part of it of probably dealing with constant pain. And he's self-medicating. So I'll send my prayers out to the guy, man, and hopefully he can figure it out someday.
Yeah, honestly, and I'll leave it at this. I absolutely love Josh Gordon. I think that, especially when he came to New England and he came from Cleveland, that dude is an amazing ball hawk. Like, that dude can ball. Prayers out to that dude. Let's go through the picks real fast because we ain't got enough time up here. So Minnesota's playing New Orleans. I have New Orleans. Anybody got Minnesota?
Hold on. You did that kind of quick, brother. Hold on. Damn.
I'm gonna go with New Orleans over Minnesota.
Anybody got New Orleans?
Who's quarterback?
The Saints. Drew Brees.
I got the Saints.
I take Minnesota.
You take Minnesota, okay.
You taking Minnesota, Rodney?
I did.
Okay.
All right. We got to go through this fast.
Okay.
Tampa Bay versus Detroit. I got Tampa Bay. Anybody got Detroit?
Tampa.
Tampa.
Talent. Tampa.
Yep.
San Francisco's playing Arizona Cardinals. I got Arizona. Rodney, who you got?
I'll take AZ.
All right, Vic, who you got?
Arizona.
Who you got, Frank?
I said I got Arizona.
Arizona. Okay.
Miami's playing the Raiders. That's a toss-up game.
Ooh.
I think I'm gonna take the Dolphins on this one. Rodney, who you got?
Miami.
And who you got, Fig?
I'm gonna go with the Raiders on this one. I think they get a bounce back.
How about
Miami?
you?
Miami.
The Colts are playing Pittsburgh. I think the Colts are gonna smash Pittsburgh. They're playing in Pittsburgh. Talent, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh for getting it together this week. Give me Pittsburgh.
Okay, Fig, who you got?
I'm gonna do the same. Pittsburgh.
All right. The Atlanta.
Who you got, Frank?
I said Pittsburgh. Atlanta is playing Kansas City. Rodney Perry, who you got?
That's gonna be a shootout, but I'm gonna take KC to come to hang on.
Kansas City's gonna run away with that one. Talent, you got
KC.
Kansas City all day.
Chicago Bears is playing Jacksonville. The Bears should beat Jacksonville. I got the Bears. Who you got? Rodney.
Man, we don't know who gonna quarterback. Should I? If I can make it out there, I might quarterback, but I take the Bears.
Okay. Rodney got the Bears. Fig, who you got?
I take the Bears over Jacksonville. Ain't no Jaguars in Jacksonville. That's a dumb name.
Talent, who you got?
Jacksonville.
The Bengals is playing Houston.
Wow.
I know. The Bengals is playing against Houston. I'm going to take Cincinnati because the way they played real good last week. I think they played really, really good last week. I'm going with Cincinnati. Rodney, who you got?
I'm gonna take Houston, man. I think Cincinnati is fool's gold. Okay.
Fig, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Cincinnati because I think that quarterback is coming into his own.
Yeah, I'm going with Cincinnati.
The Giants are playing the Ravens. I got the Ravens, even though I think the Giants could win that game, but I'm gonna take the Ravens. Tell me who you got.
Well, I think that quarterback ain't gonna have to take his shit. I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
Who you got, Vic?
I'm gonna go with the Ravens for the same reason that Talent do. As long as they don't spike his pizza with laxative, I think
right,
the Ravens
who you got?
win.
I got Ravens, man.
Cleveland
you got
Browns.
the Ravens, Frank?
I got Ravens.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Cleveland against the
Frank
Jets.
making picks in his head. He think we can hear him.
No, I'm just trying to go through it real fast. Cleveland against the Jets. I got Cleveland. Who you got, Rodney?
Oh shit.
Cleveland, of course.
Fig.
I got Cleveland all day.
Talent.
I'm gonna go with Cleveland.
Cleveland. Carolina playing Washington. That's a toss-up game. I think I'm gonna take. Now that half the Washington team at the strip club, so I'm taking Carolina. Who you got, Rodney?
I hate both of them teams, but I'm gonna take the Panthers.
Okay, Fig. Who you got?
I'll go with Carolina on this one.
Same.
Who you got?
Panthers.
The Denver Broncos are playing against the LA Chargers. I'm going for good LA Chargers. Who you got, Rodney?
Oh man, Broncos are horrible. I'll take the Chargers.
All right, who
Chargers.
you got, Fig?
Chargers, baby.
All right, the Philadelphia Eagles is playing the Dallas Cowboys. I'm taking Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts all day. Now, who you got?
Philly.
Who you got, Fig?
Filthy.
Who you got, Rodney?
I'll take Philly, man.
LA Rams is coming off a horrible loss last week. They're playing Seattle. I got Seattle. I think the Rams are going to lose again this week. Rodney, who you got?
Seattle.
Who you got?
Russell Wilson, baby. Sierra.
Who you got? Who you got, Talent?
I'm going with the Rams.
Okay. Tennessee is playing against Green Bay at Green Bay. I'm going to take Tennessee. I'm going out on a limb. I think Tennessee is going to beat Green Bay in Green Bay by the way they play. Rodney Perry, who you got?
Green Bay all day.
Okay. Who you got, the Talent?
Packers, baby. You know that.
And Fig, who you got?
God. Give me Tennessee.
Buffalo on Monday night is coming to New England to play New England. I'm taking New England. I'm going down with the ship. I think New England's going to lose, but I'm going to take New England anyway. Who you got, Rodney?
You're right. New England's gonna lose. Buffalo.
Who you got, Fig?
Buffalo, baby.
Who you got, Dallas?
I'm taking JV, junior varsity, to beat the hell out of your bum ass.
Yeah.
I got the Bills.
All right, you just officially started a Jets demolishment. Starting tomorrow on Monday. I mean, I'm gonna let y'all have it. He called the Patriots bum ass. What? The nerve of you, as you sit in New York, the nerve of you, man.
But at least my team almost always guarantee you to hit that end zone. Y'all had a game where y'all had 2 field goals, man.
Yeah, but y'all hit the end zone for the high school team. You're supposed to hit the end zone for the NFL team. Yo, that's the show. Yo, we
Already?
Tell everybody how they can follow you.
Hey, you can follow me on Twitter at It's Just Comedy, Instagram, Talent the Comedian, and Facebook, King Talent Harris. I got you covered, man. Deuces.
Hey, who you got?
Oh, man. Comedian Fig on all social media platforms. You can also catch me on the box seats Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m., baby, on your local station on Facebook Live. I be hanging out with Talent, Rodney Perry. I be everywhere. I'm going to be there.
Rodney, who you got?
Hey guys, Rodney Perry. My clippers are a little faulty. That's RodneyPerry.com and all social media, Rodney Perry Live. Anybody got a line on getting some new ones?
I just want you all to know, starting Monday, we'll be back Monday. Starting Monday, I'm going to have it in for Jets fans. Just let y'all know, because my people right here, they put it on. I want y'all to have a Merry Christmas out there who's watching the show. Obviously, to Merry Christmas to each of all your families out there. To you, Talent, to you, Fig, to you, Rodney Perry. We'll be back after Christmas. We'll be back on Monday. We're taking off for Thursday and Friday. We'll be back Monday. It's a show called The Box Seats. This is on the Humor Mill channel. I want to thank all the people who continue to comment and continue to support the show. Merry Christmas to each and every one of all of you all, especially you all comment, especially Amir, of course, Mrs. Holder. Thank you, Bernadette. And of course, we have a couple of other people up there I want to thank, and I can't see their names right now.
We gotta thank Marlene, because without Marlene, we wouldn't have all this right here.
Oh, Marlene, yeah, definitely. Sheena.
Thank you, Marlene.
Lois. All you all continue to support this. We really appreciate you all. Continue to comment. We really like that. We'll be back Monday at 2 o'clock. The show called The Box Seat. Until then, wish you all a Merry Christmas. Same bad time, that channel. See y'all.